and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the 21-22 Sharks season preview with your man's Brodie Brazil. But before we get to that point, remember, you want to interact with us on the social. You can find us all the channels, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, Discord. We're all there. Teal Town USA. And if you want to support the show, we love those super chats, but we prefer the Venmo option. So, with that, let's get into it. It's me, it's Jerk, it's our pal,
Brodie Brazil.
Well done. I was just Venmoing you guys. And AJ, wait a second. We've been testing, this little conversation here, technically getting it together. The Jerk has been here the whole time?
All the time.
And I was not aware of that. I apologize, Jerk. If I could say that to you.
Yeah, of course. That's okay. It sounded like you guys had a good groove, so I was just laying out.
There was nothing good about that. I wish you would have jumped in earlier.
You don't know how many times he probably thinks that about Sonia when him and Curtis are going at it. But anyway,
I need Sonia. I need her to bail me out of the Curtis disaster sometimes. I'm like, hey, cheers.
Cheers, good sir. What do you got there rocking?
This is a Fieldwork Super Saint OG. It's a West Coast double IPA. That's how I'm treating this interview. We're going double IPA.
Hey now.
We love it.
Hey now.
I've got the Revision Boogie Bus Northeast style hazy IPA.
Oh, hazy, that's good. An IPA. And also your jersey. I know you're the interviewer here, but let me bring that up. What do you got going on there?
Yeah, little. This is, sometimes people say, "How did you spend your summer?" This is how I spent my summer, doing fun custom mashups because I feel like I can do a better job than the Sharks. But
there you go.
In your honor, it's like, okay, I got to rock my A's one.
Logan would be proud.
Right?
The better Bay Area baseball team, we'll say.
Oh, it's like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is like that.
Mm-hmm. I will tell
me, noted baseball fan.
You're a baseball jerk now too, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm a man of many tools, as they say.
You're a tool. Anyway,
I'm sorry. That is creeping me out. Whatever is in the center there, it's on my screen really small. Who is that? What is that? What's going on there?
So evidently there was a shot.
That's the character I'm portraying today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Evidently there was a shot taken by a paparazzi of Ben Affleck just like totally done with life. He was outside having a smoke.
Oh, I see. Okay, it is Ben Affleck. It looks like he's got a dart in his hand there, too.
Yeah, he does. And and somebody photoshopped a reverse retro jersey, and I'm like, you know what? That's the perfect encapsulation of Hockey Jerk.
They made him the captain, too.
Yeah, exactly. Love it.
That's awesome.
Oh, so the opening night roster came out a few hours ago. I don't think anybody is surprised by, what happened, aside from, like, maybe you sit there and go, well, Hataka's on there. Well, yeah, because Knizhov is injured. We're not sure how long he's going to be out for. But for the most part, it's basically how we all kind of thought it was going to go. Let's just start with what we would consider to be probably the top line, which I would assume at this point is Hertl, centering Balcers and Eklund, and you have to give it up to Eklund. I mean, since Marleau have we seen a kid get the pass at 18 years old, right?
Well, and I mean, it's like Marleau and Vlasic, and pretty much he falls into that category, right? He's I think tomorrow is his 19th birthday.
Yes, it is.
So it is pretty amazing in retrospect. I think what's really cool about it is the progression of this. He's gone from, oh my gosh, I can't believe we drafted him. We were able to draft him. We thought he would go well earlier than 7th. It's gone from that to, well, he might be able to make this team out of training camp, but that's a lot, right? That's a lot to ask. Then he has a really good camp. And not just the exhibition games, but everything coaches say about him. If you watch any/all of his interviews, which I have, the maturity level, the way that he handles himself. I mean, his age is far beyond 19 tomorrow. I'll say that. And then now, I mean, it's literally like, will the Shark store be selling his jersey, number 72, on opening night? You know, it's gone. It keeps taking more steps. And I know we're probably way ahead of ourselves right now, and we're going to be watching him closely all season. But this is a fun thing to have. Really, a story like this and a situation like this. And it's also funny you mentioned Patrick Marleau, because there's a player the Sharks did not really connect with this past offseason or going into this season. And here they are with a 19-year-old that they will debut on Saturday night. So he's got to be thrilled right now. I'm thrilled for him. I can't wait to see how this pans out. It's nice to have some excitement like that.
Well, just to hop on what you said for a second, just to kind of go sideways, are you a little surprised that nobody has knocked on Patrick's door?
Yeah, I texted Patty the other day, and I'll full disclosure, nothing more than just to say, hey, like, people are interested. I'm interested. What's going on? And he's like, I'm just a free agent. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. So I didn't want to dive in. Excuse me. I didn't want to dive into too much of what
the
exactly.
Beer is already hitting Brody. Is what we're saying.
It bubbled in my larynx. Can I just say larynx real fast? I hate when that happens. So no, I didn't want to dive into too many details. Like, well, are you skating? What's going on? This or that. I just told him, I was like, hey, well, I'm pulling for that day to happen sooner than later. And I think also, too, guys, when you consider that Joe Thornton is with the Florida Panthers and Patrick Marleau is without a team, it either speaks to maybe Patty's selectiveness in what's available, what's out there, or also possibly, I mean, this would just be amazing. It's a weird and difficult thing to say. I always just thought that, being of the similar draft or similar age, identical draft class of 97, I thought that Patty would outlast Joe just because of the way that he less mileage on the body and nothing more than that. Like, Joe plays a really hard physical two-way game. And here we are, the Joe Thornton is still lined up right now to play this season and Patty's not. But I also want to throw this out there. I think my ideal situation for Patty would be pick up halfway through this season with the team, with a contending team that had an injury, needs some veteran leadership. They know what they're going to get. They know that on day one, when he shows up, he's actually going to be ready to contribute. He's going to give them no problems. He's only going to add. He's not going to subtract. So in a weird way, and like, wasn't Justin Williams, was he talking about that 2 years ago, or was that last year? I've lost all track of time.
Yeah, Justin Williams did that. I know Mike Fisher did that a few years back as well, where and I kind of like that idea. I mean, I don't think it's a big secret that, at this point in his career, he prefers to be as close to San Jose as possible.
Sure.
So why not just hang around and sort of see what happens, and then maybe January, February, or around the deadline, he can sign up till the trade deadline. Why not sign with that contender, and he can have the best of both worlds, where he's on a good team but also gets to spend most of the year close to home. I mean, I think at this point that's probably what we're watching out for. Not
every player in the league should have or should be afforded this opportunity, right? Like, if you're a mediocre run-of-the-mill player, like, team, and you're 35 doing this, that's one thing. But when you're Patty's age and Patty's experience and Patty's background, I think teams should give him the benefit of the doubt if, in fact, like, they have the opening, right? And it's kind of a hard fit. They got to be a contender, like a real contender, and they have to have an opening. So I know it's funny. We're talking about a guy who's not even on the roster, but it is amazing that Patty's not with any team right now. Yeah. And like we said, the contrast of Eklund in and Patty not part of this team, and that's not a surprise, but this is a moment, right? For those of us who have been around the franchise for a long time and have known him for a long time, this is a moment.
And look, I don't want to disparage Patty's career whatsoever, but I'm on record sitting there going, I don't know if the Sharks have him on the team this last season if not for that record. Like,
well,
look,
you know,
I mean,
but
to a
I would
certain
also say
extent,
look at their wait a second though. Look at their roster last year. Look how many you know, let's call it what is Barracuda players came up and filled roles. And I've always said, I said it going into this year. You know, people asked, well, would you bring Patty back? Would you continue to have him around? And my thought was, if it's a toss up and you have Patrick Marleau there, or you have somebody who you're kind of sure you want to give a chance, but you're not 100% sure that you don't really have all the confidence in the world, give it to Patrick Marleau, right? Like, and last year that was definitely the case. I mean, they were not a deep team, especially up front by any means last season. So I think honestly with a Bonino and a Cogliano and just, you know, I know those aren't, you know, top six players, top six forwards, but they're the kind of depth players and role players that Patty Marleau would be. And so they are deeper this year up front. And I think correspondingly, you know, that's why Patty's not around. But so I think just last year was a case of, no, I do not think it was, you know, for sentimental purposes. I think it was like literally we need the help and he can help. So,
well, and I can see that too, because you look at everything that's been mentioned with the culture in the room since Pavelski's departure. And so maybe with Thornton leaving as well, maybe there was something along the lines of, hey, let's get back to that kind of culture. And Marleau is somebody that can bring that back in, even though he's known as being more of a quiet guy when compared to a Pavelski or a Thornton. So
true, but even then, I mean, if you kind of listen to what Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner have to say, like his time in Toronto, he seemed to be that leader despite being a person of few words, as you said, AJ, where it's almost, I don't want to say it's do as I do, but it's almost kind of like, okay, he's been really successful for doing A, B, and C. Let's look more into that, where you don't really need the pep talk or the rah-rah speech from him. You just kind of, you know, watch how he conducts himself in these given situations and sort of follow along. And, you know, the one that always comes to mind is, you know, the intermission cold tubs, right? You know, and like you have, you know, that was something that Patrick Marleau did like as a way, like, you know, to stay fresh and, you know, keep everything, you know, ready to go for the next period. And you've got Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews, who are young guys, should theoretically be, you know, at 11 the entire time. And they're like, no, we're right there with you. We'll jump in the tub, you know? So I don't think you need the for the boys. Exactly. You don't need that rah speech from him. You specifically for him, he can lead and set a good precedent in other ways besides using his voice.
No,
I never got invited to Patty's cold tub. And all those years I was inside the dressing room, like I was literally there second intermission and no cold tub action. Oh guys, hold on.
Baseball game. Hold on. You might be ahead of us. You might be ahead of us.
Who's
you
us?
Up, pop fly, and boom.
It's gone.
The Giants have won Game 3, 1-0.
Okay, A's jersey guy. Yeah. Enough of that.
Again, it's over there.
Wait, watch this. Here comes the audience flooding into your YouTube channel now. They've turned off the game. They've turned on Teal Town USA.
The Russian bots.
I'll get to them later on. You watch. You gotta whisper to the Russian bots.
The goddamn Russian bots. So Hurdle centering Eklund and Balsers as your top line.
I think by the way, the Couture line's the top line. AJ, you gotta come on now.
I would disagree. I would disagree. I know you're a big Couture fan.
I come on. That's just just from LoganCoutureFanClub.com. That's all that is. Okay.
Hey, no free ads.
I feel like at the very least, it's a flip of a coin at this point, right?
You're right. You know what? You're absolutely right. It's kind of like a good problem to have. And no, I think AJ's right. Like it is a 1 and a 2 situation, but it's nice to think of it like a 1A and a 1B. It
sure.
Really is.
So if you're top 6, then it's Hurdle, Eklund, Balsers, Couture between Meyer and Dahlen.
Mm-hmm. Which is another good story, by the way.
A great story. I mean, Dad played for the team.
Well, and then he went back to Sweden. You know, he had literally a taste of, what was it, Utica, and then it was like 8 or 10 games with the Barracuda, and he had a taste of the AHL, and kind of had the realization moment that I need to work on my game. I need to develop. He goes back to Sweden for 2 years. leads their league in scoring, MVP of their league, comes back here now, good camp, makes the team. But it's all falling together for him.
But Jerk, so Dahlen taken by Vancouver, right? And the rub on him was like needed to work on his D.
Yeah, well, he was actually originally was an Ottawa Senators draft pick, way back in the day of 2016, which was so long ago, right? Yeah, and then was traded to Vancouver when the Ottawa Senators were contending for a playoff spot. When's the last time you heard that? And
you watch though.
Hello, Sedin twins.
Sooner than later.
Yeah, and you're right. It's not some big secret. Like, the offensive skill was there. I mean, his time with Utica, 31 points in 52 games over 2 seasons. I mean, that's very solid. And then had a good showing with the Barracuda. But Brodie's right, where it's like he wants to go back to a familiar league, familiar environment, work on these different things. What can I do when I'm not scoring goals? And he seems, training camp is what it is. It's short and you don't really get the full picture all the time. But from what I've seen so far, obviously a couple games have been on TV. I got to go to a game. So just seeing him, he seems like a more complete player compared to, 2018.
You guys, so you realize there's with Eklund and Dahlen, these two young guys on the top 2 lines like that, and in years past, I would say, well, that's risky, or, well, we're taking a lot of liberties here. But the confidence that seems to go along with these two players, like, this is exciting, right?
Right.
To see what these guys can do, to see what they're all about, and to see if this lasts, right? And to see if they're made of it,
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I've seen, between all of our, Twitter, Discord, all the different channels, you see people saying, well, we don't want to rush Eklund, are we sure that Eklund's there yet? And it's like, it's not like he came in, had a good camp, but he's gonna file that away for next year. Like, he led the Sharks in scoring during preseason. And a lot of the times he was the best player on the ice. Like, I made the I said a few days ago, it's like you can't rush his development if he's already developed.
Well, and he's probably got some. Let's be honest too. And Dahlen's a couple years older, but for Eklund,
right.
Another thing too is as he fills out his body size, as he gets to play more NHL games on the smaller ice surface, he keeps referencing that a lot, and I greatly understand it, and I think there is such a big difference. I had the privilege of watching one Sharks game on an international ice surface. This was their preseason game, 2010 in Germany.
Adler Mannheim.
Exactly. And first off, everybody that I was with in this traveling party, we had no sleep the night before. So how these guys even played a hockey game, I'll never know. But what was so apparent was that there's so much more room as the attacking skater, instead of using lanes up the center of the ice, you literally have 20 feet on the outside of either defenseman to use. And the game, it plays like, and the Shark players were not ready for this. Clearly, it was like, whoa, like I was getting ready to throw a hip check, and there was no wall like to blow him into. Like, Dan Boyle was lost. But it's one of those cases where Bugner has said about Eklund that actually, as crafty as he is with the puck, and also, as heads up as he is without the puck, the smaller ice surface might actually showcase his game a little bit more. When he's pressured, he's actually even a better player than when he's got space. Now, I guess we'll find that out, but that'll be something interesting to watch for.
And I think it's worth noting as well, like even worst case scenario, if he he plays the 9 games and he's got no points, like, that's okay. Like, you can send him to the Barracuda, you can send him back to Djurgården. No harm, no foul there. You gave him a taste, wasn't ready, and that's fine. He'll go work on it wherever else if he needs to be. It's an impossible situation to lose, if you ask me. Like,
well, you don't want to ruin confidence. I'll say that, right? You don't want to expose him and overexpose him and ruin his confidence. Like, if he's really struggling in the first handful of games or however long the trial period is. But I think, to your point, and at this juncture, hasn't he shown you enough that the very worst place he's going to land is in the AHL? I don't see sending him across the pond at this point. Based on what he's done, I don't see sending him back that far again. Do you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, for all we know, like say he does end up on the Barracuda, he could have 30 points in 30 games and be right back up.
and that's okay, right? Like that's what the system is there for. That's why the team is in San Jose now, like for this type of situation. I guess what I'm saying is there's no shame. He has nothing to lose. Like, let's see how it goes. We know he's young. We know he's going to develop. We know there's promise. It would be fun and exciting if he just stuck. But we also know the odds of that. How many times has that happened in the 30-plus years of Sharks history?
I don't know. Let's ask Hurdle.
Only a couple. Only a couple, though. It happens once a decade, maybe, or
I mean,
something
Vlasic,
similar to that
Hurdle.
effect.
There's been Jeff Friesen,
Patty. But I'm saying
Falloon.
Wait a minute, that's a short list.
Now, wait a second. When we say stick, like stick around for 5 years, on the
or
team
because
plus?
they don't have anything better to put out there.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I mean stick, I mean like Hurdle. Hurdle stuck, right?
Well, Vlasic
stuck.
Yeah. Mirko Mueller, not so much.
Exactly. You got it right there.
See? Anthony Sanchez in the chat. This is a great question. Will the Sharks eventually need an enforcer to protect the young players like Claude did for Couture? I would actually take that a step further and say like John Scott did for everybody in 2015. You know? There's essentially, there could be 7 rookies on this team. I mean, Eklund, Dahlen, but I mean, NHL quote unquote rookies. So Barabanov, even though he's like 27, Weatherby, then you on the, Hataka. I mean, yeah, you might need somebody, but I don't see somebody on this team that's like, yeah, let's throw hands.
Well, let me ask you, how many games did it take for this team to have a fighting major last year? Was it 20? Was it game 21 of the year when they first dropped the gloves?
They were the last ones, right?
Right. They were the last in the league. And I believe in this preseason, they've already had at least 2.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and fighting's not everything, but to your point, like, let me spin this one 2 ways. Rookie players, and in a lot of cases, smaller sized players. Like, what type of liberties will opposition take with an Eklund if he comes out of the gate in the first couple games and teams really start playing him with the body and playing him differently?
Right.
We'll see how he responds. I have all confidence in the world that he'll be able to respond, but to your point, how will the Sharks respond with that? Also, and this is in a weird way, I kind of want to see a pissed off Sharks team out of the gate.
Yeah.
Like with what they're up against, they've never missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. They're at 2 right now. I kind of want to see a team that says, you're going to talk about us. We're going to make you talk about us. I'd at least like to see that mindset and attitude and aggression out of the gate.
Well, I mean,
to that point.
Well, and you talk about Bugner. It's like a couple years ago, he's, mid-December thrown in. It's like, okay, so DeBoer's the easy scapegoat. We'll let him go. Insert Bugner, and then what happens? The pandemic. They're the only team that have to leave their home and go to Arizona, do all that. So this time around, the Sharks actually get a camp at home that they can control all the all the things that they want to teach, all the lessons that they want to give to the guys. And so far, and we'll get into the Kane stuff in a little bit, but you look at that skills competition yesterday. I've never seen that many smiles on Sharks players in a couple years.
Yeah.
They all seem like they're having a good time. So back to those projected lines where it's Hurdle, Eklund, Balsers, Dahlen, Couture, Meyer. Now, the one name that we haven't spoken about yet that you would put, I guess, right now in a bottom 6, and I don't know that I would, is Barabanov. I mean, 7 points in 9 games last season. Now, granted, everybody's going to tell you, quote unquote, small sample size, but it just seems like if you look at that left side, Eklund, Dahlen, Barabanov, like you can sit there and kind of, like a carousel and just be like, oh, okay, well, this guy isn't feeling it for the last couple of games. We'll put Eklund down to the second line. We'll move Barabanov up to Hurdle where he saw success last season. It's that like the 9, along with, Barabanov, Bonino, and LeBanc. LeBanc is a guy that I feel does need to, he needs to have a season.
I knew you were going to get to LeBanc, and that was the name running through my mind as you were talking about, interchangeability, sliding up and down. But let me also suggest this: if you're Bob Bugner, and you made a great point earlier, he's never had a normal regular season, like start to finish yet.
Yeah.
He had the pandemic stopped one, which he took over, and then he had last year, which was 56 games in only divisional play. Don't you want to come out with a lineup that at least sticks through that first road trip? What you play one home game, then you go out on the road for 5. Yep. Don't you want to see the foundation, minus injuries or whatever else? Don't you want to see the majority of that lineup stick for at least through that first road trip? See how it plays out, what you thought would work best?
Yes, and I'm sure Jerk will have some things to say here in a minute. But the reason why I say that is because I feel like there's some little pieces going on that could, maybe they'll take a look at Dahlen just based on what came out for the roster. You have Dahlen, but what Jerk, help me out. What's the guy's name? Gadjevic?
Gadjevic, yeah.
Oh,
sure.
From Vancouver.
Yeah, but I mean, you have that. You have Peterson. The Bugner said he was going to roll out with 14 forwards. So I feel like Weatherby's going to be given that shot to be that big. I mean, dude's what is he, 6'4", 240 or some shit? I mean, he's a beefy guy. He's a fat ass that you're gonna throw in front of the net, a la oh my god, who's that guy from Chicago? Jerk.
Dustin Byfuglien.
There you go. Yeah, he's got a.
You could remember Buff Daddy?
Well, because he played forward and defense. But I mean,
wait, and why do you say Chicago? Why didn't you say Winnipeg? Why did you pin him to the
because,
black?
Why didn't you say Atlanta?
Okay, hold on. Let me do the math. Wasn't it when Byfuglien, when he was with Chicago, was a big key of San Jose losing that series? That's why I said Chicago.
The 2010 conference
Thank
final.
you.
You're right. They went on to win the cup with Monty Niemi in goal. You're right. Exactly.
So.
Oh, that was a sound effect. Never mind. Sorry.
So that's why I say I think Weatherby is given that opportunity, but the thing is, Weatherby can be sent down.
Yes.
It's Dahlen, he's got the one-way deal. There's some certain guys that got to pass waivers here up in here. Lane Peterson, as far as I know, cannot be sent down without being put on waivers. So
correct.
I can see Weatherby giving that opportunity early on here, dude, you beat Gambrell out of this spot, show me, and they're going to give him that opportunity. And again, it's like Weatherby and Eklund, those first 9 games. Obviously Eklund because of his deal, but those first 9 games. Let's see the home opener, then you get the 5 on the road in Eastern Canada for the most part until the dip down to Nashville, and then you get a 5-game home stretch at home. We'll see how that works out. I feel like that top 9 is kind of etched in stone. Here's my questions. Let me ask my first question about the top line. I'll start with you, Brodie. Can Eklund at his, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, yeah, just Alexander Kolyuk. Look at how small and deft he was. But
Deft.
but well, hey,
I know words. I have the best words.
But
jeez.
But Alexander Kolyuk could stick handle a phone booth. Eklund, small, slight of stature, as you are, Brodie. And so
not around the waist, but okay.
It used to be not around the hair, but anyway, can Eklund deal with the tribes and tribulations of dealing with an 82 game we're coming for you season?
Yeah. No, and I think the physical size has a lot to do with that, right?
Yep.
And I mean, not to get too deep into human anatomy here, but I think all of us looked a lot different when we were 18/19 years old. He will fill out into an NHL body, or at least one that looks a lot different and is made to handle 82 games, 82 plus every season. So, yeah, if that's the question, I mean, but I also think, AJ, like with him, let's not assume that the whole thing is start to finish. He's on the Sharks all season long. Let's see how this plays out.
Yeah.
I mean, let's really take it in if you want to start at 9 games, let's start there. Let's take this evaluation and see how it goes. Because again, I don't think it's a big deal at all if he needs a trip to the Barracuda, whatever. It's really not a problem. Like I said, I think you have everything to lose, or sorry, everything to gain, nothing to lose. But to the real question, all right, now you need a top or a second line winger or a top line winger. If you don't have, to your guys' point, Dahlen with his contract is not going anywhere. But if you don't have Eklund up there, who fills that role, right? It's not now. Here's where it starts to get interesting.
Well, and that's the thing. Eklund had such an amazing camp, but you could also point to those final 9 games of the Sharks where Barabanov had a really good chemistry with Hurdle.
Yeah.
So it's like
there are other options. To your point, there are other options. We're not saying that the tank is dry. I just think the overall theme for me is that I would, they saw what they saw in camp. The Sharks coaching staff paired these players together on lines and on D pairs, and let's roll with it for a bit. I like the sake of consistency. I like an original plan. Now, if we're midway through the season and you got to start, jumbling through things, you got to put everything in the grinder. That's fine, but out of the gate, let's try and have this settle in here a little bit and see how it goes. Let's be patient with it out of the gate.
Yeah, I like that, and I mean I do agree with AJ in the sense that really on both wings you could sort of shuffle the decks around and maybe get something out of it, and I think that's another reason why bringing in Nick Bonino was so huge, is because now you have 3 legitimate centers where it's like, okay, we know what we're going to get out of them. You could sort of try anybody there, but at the same time, I like what Brodie is saying in the sense where it's, the Sharks the last 2 years have been so inconsistent, like virtually across the board. I mean, except for losing. And so why?
Wow. To Las Vegas specifically.
Yeah. And so wow, it's a situation like, why not? To your point, Brodie, why not try and see if you can establish those?
Yeah.
I guess those long-term connections early on, get guys comfortable playing with each other on the ice. And the same thing, too, the Sharks go out on that 5-game road trip to start the season with, how many ever 7 rookies on the roster? Like, to start your NHL career, on the private jet in a different hotel every day, getting the NHL per diem, like that's big for them too. Like it's all about experiences, however you compile them all together. And so I think you can have, to be that guy, you can have the best of both worlds where it's like, yeah, let's try and find some chemistry with one another. But if you have to plug and play and play a little bit of musical chairs, like that's fine too.
Per diem in Montreal,
man.
Per diem in Montreal. Wow. Welcome to the NHL. Hey, Jerkster, I just want to say that you bring up Bonino and throw in Cogliano too. I mean, I think those were huge acquisitions because, like, the Sharks to me were a little bit dry up front last year, especially. Right? And that's where they were mostly. I mean, once you realize that on the back end, like Knizhov could fit in, and you kind of have your core already. On the blue line, and Mario was a mainstay all season long, but up front now, like whoever Bonino has on his wings, like he instantly makes that line a lot more solid, reliable, trustworthy. He's got the experience, and the same thing with Cogliano. I'd rather have Hurdle, Logan, Bonino, and Cogliano never play on the same line all season long. Now, obviously, with 3 of those guys being centermen, like clearly that's going to happen. That's how it's going to happen, but. I'd like to spread out their experience so that every line has somebody you can kind of lean on a little bit. So.
Yeah, I think, and I think, kind of like what I was saying, Bonino being that legitimate third line center, I think that's a way it helps. It also helps, the Sharks have been awful on faceoffs the last couple of years. Bring in Bonino, a guy who can win a faceoff here and there, or so they say. And
well, they haven't been awful on faceoffs per se. Hurdle and Couture in the offensive zone have been fine. It's that you had Gambrell being horrible. Marleau was not that great last year. So it was the fact that there were key situations in the defensive zone where Bugner is looking at the bench and going, all right, Tommy, get out there. Because they're just, that's what you needed at the time. So that to me is like, you look at Bonino, and if Weatherby can really pull this position and be like, yeah, I can be better than 50% in that circle, it's going to take a lot of those hard defensive face-offs out of Hurdle, when Hurdle and Couture should be taking those in the offensive zone.
Yeah. There was a lot of games last year when we were doing the post game until I of course was ejected from the season after game 36, went right to baseball. But Brownie and I would be seconds away from doing the post game, and he'd say, "Hey, what's the face-offs?" So, and that's exactly how it sounded. So, and I would give him the Sharks face-offs won and lost, and then I'd kind of go down the list of who are the standouts? And a lot of times, well, let me just say this. Usually there was one person who was, slightly better than 50% and several other key names who you're like, oh my goodness, he just got muscled on the dots.
Well, last season, the Sharks finished tied for 24th at 48%. Hurdle and Couture took a lot of those defensive zone faceoffs because Gambrell, Donato, Gregor, Marleau.
But can you also say though? I'm asking this rhetorically, but the centerman is mostly responsible for who wins the draw, but not entirely.
Not entirely.
Your wingers have to help you win draws and who you're with, and again, I go back to the experience level. Now, is that dramatically better with a couple rookies and I don't know. We'll find out, but. You guys bring up a good point. That has to be better. The power play has to be dramatically better.
We'll get to that
last year.
We'll get to that.
All right.
I just think, and real quick, if we want to touch on the faceoffs, the Sharks' final preseason game against the Golden Knights, just a couple of days ago, if you're listening live, you had Bonino 73%, Weatherby 57%, Couture 58%. You had guys stepping up, like you said, AJ, that sweet spot of, okay, are you 50% plus one? All right, you're doing something right. And it's one preseason game, but it's I think it's an encouraging sign to see that consistency of winning faceoffs. Yes, you can make the argument that Vegas didn't really have their heads in that game, but it's still worth noting. You have to be able to take advantage of that, and I think the Sharks lacked that, even that a little bit last year, of that killer instinct, where I can recall a few times where the Sharks had teams on the ropes and they let it slip away.
Yep.
And I think having better depth, specifically defensively, specifically with Bonino, Cogliano, we're talking face-offs, we're talking that leadership, locking it down in a game. I think the penalty kill, as good as the penalty kill was at times last year, I think that's just as important, because you lose Melker Karlsson, you lose Barclay Goodrow, and you don't bring in any designated penalty killers. And so now you look, last season, someone takes a penalty and Couture and Meyer go out there, Hurdle and Kane go out there. No. And now you have Bonino, you have Cogliano, you have Matt Nieto, who can go out there, designated penalty killers, and it lets them do their job. It allows Couture, Hurdle, Timo Meyer, those guys to focus on 5 versus 5, focus on power play. I think, you can sit here and say, yes, bringing in Nick Bonino was awesome and the right thing, but if you break it down, I just listed 4 things right there, all very different, but all huge.
What are you, his agent, jerk? You represent the guy?
Yeah, I don't want to confirm anything, but
hey, jerk.
Well, I would say it's a shame that the Sharks didn't have him earlier in his career. When they drafted him. Wait, what? Are you serious?
Hey, Jerk.
Bonito.
Yeah. Hey, Jerk man.
Yes.
We got their numbers.
I have always got the numbers. No, but it's and the thing, and I've given Doug Wilson the credit every chance I've gotten, where it's like he came out and he said, well, our third line center needs to be better. Our bottom six depth needs to be better. Our goaltending needs to be better. Yeah. And he showed up and made changes to all three. And it can work out great or it can blow up in everybody's faces, but you can't say that there wasn't an attempt there to make it better.
I will say, man, Bugner might be the most forthcoming coach the Sharks have ever had. Like I
love it.
He doesn't tell you a lot, but goddamn does he live up to what he says. I mean, he came into a week ago when he was being inundated by the media, and it's like, what are things looking like right now? And he was just like, yeah, no, we're gonna have 14 forwards. It was just like, yeah, and you do.
Not exactly from the Pete DeBoer school of New Jersey head coaching. No, and you know what?
New Jersey's like, you'll see him when they're fucking out there, okay?
Todd McClellan was largely like that too, but I also think he sometimes minced words on purpose too, right? You know, so like it depends on who. But I agree. Like, what's one of the things I like about Bob? Very transparent.
Yeah,
he's gonna deliver and ask. He's probably a lot of times, when a coach talks to the media about what's going on with their team and what they're trying to work on, and then when they actually get in the room, it's a totally different thing. Like, this is just for show. This is just to play with the puppets. And then, okay, now the work begins inside the room. But I really, truly feel like with Bob, like he's actually doing what he says he's doing in there.
Yeah.
And what they're aiming for,
And I've always commended him for that. How many podcasts did we do last year, AJ, where I always said, man, here Bob again, just when I thought, he couldn't outdo himself, he did. I remember, towards the end of the year, I said, Bob, we got 5 games left in the regular season. What are you thinking for goaltending? And he more or less said, yeah, Jones isn't going to start any of those games. And it's like, whoa, like, all right, that's.
He didn't straight up call out Jones, but he might as well have with the way he intimated.
Yeah, and
there was a point midway through last season where, and Curtis and I, we were off camera when Bob said it. Brownie, bearded, no longer bearded Brownie. I think we looked at each when Bugner, he fell about, he threw Jones about 2 inches short of being under the bus.
Yeah.
But basically he was like right in front of it. So, and in a classy, in a tactful way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, there was. I was a little surprised there towards those last 5 or 6 games that there wasn't tired treads on the back of Jones's jersey. To be honest with you,
yeah,
it was.
And that's the thing. He was very as honest and upfront as he was. I felt he was very diplomatic about it as well. The one kind of instance I can remember is, I remember him saying, something to the effect of, well, you all watched the game. Our goalie let in 5 goals.
Oh my God! I didn't realize Brodie brought his GoPro with him.
Oh yeah, I'm changing cameras over here. And actually, when I'm done with the program, I'll just say bye. See you later.
And there he goes.
Oh just my God! Hold on. You know what? While we're here, hold on. You know what? Everything that always gets precedent is a super chat. So Darius. Always see you on the Facebook Super Sharks page. Love to see you, brother. I would love to see Marleau's number up in the rafters someday in the tank along with Thornton's. It's gonna happen. You don't knock off Gordie Howe's record and not start going, yeah, right there up in the yeah, that's the spot I want to be. No, both Marleau and Thornton are going up at the same time. Now, that's the thing that a lot of people have talked about is that because they were taken 1 and 2 back in 97, it's like, do you put them up at the same time because they played for the same team? No. Give each of these guys their own due. If there's
I made a YouTube video on this a couple years ago, AJ. Shout outs to Brazil YouTube channel. But I was like, how about a weekend? What if they could rank
Saturday,
a Friday and a Saturday night game, and Friday night's Patty or I don't care who goes first, honestly. But if you're Mr. Shark, you should probably go first. But how about can you imagine that weekend and have them both in town, have them both there? Oh my goodness.
Well,
phenomenal.
As far as I know, Marleau still lives in the area. I don't know that he's like, like looking at real estate in another part of the country. So
Jumbo has enough friends that if he wants to fly into town tonight, he'll have a home and a bed to stay in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
Jumbo,
he'll be
not far
more
removed.
than fine.
And actually, one of the places is right here at the Brazil house.
Oh, there you go, Casa de Brazil, right
he's
there.
He's gonna have to wake up with my son in the morning and play trains, but it's fine.
I think he'll be fine with that.
All right, for the boys.
As long as your kid is fine with like, who's this guy who doesn't know how to wear a T-shirt?
Oh no, he's just like my son. He walks around in his underwear all day long. At least my son wears underwear.
Hey, hi-yo. Yeah, let's ask Marner and anyway. So on to the defense. Okay, hold on. We got to call out the elephant in the room. Bugner on Evander making the 23-man roster a couple days ago said, I have no information. I'd say no comment, and I'm saying no comment because I really don't know. And then it's Evander Kane today when the roster came out considered a non-roster player pending completion of NHL's investigation. So, of course, the thing that is a kick in the smalls is you're paying a guy $7 million and he's not even going to play for your team. That has, I wouldn't have a problem if they said, okay, while this investigation is happening, we're not counting his salary against your cap, so you might be able to make some moves. But the salary is still there. The Sharks can't do anything. You put Jones's buyout on top of that, and you're talking, $8.5 million that you can't do anything with. Oh, and by the way, you have a Czechoslovakian center that you're dying to sign to a long extension, and you don't know what your money's going to be. That's got to hurt.
Well, let me say it like this. Let me actually go even back and reverse a few steps. I said going into this offseason that the Sharks probably needed 2 wow moves to right the ship.
What are you trying to say? Are you trying to talk some shit about Cogliano, Bonino? Those that weren't wow enough for you? No. Aiden Hill, not enough for you? What do you need?
No, wait a second. All of this adds up. I'm saying at the very least, the buyout of Martin Jones, and I'm just going to classify the entire situation surrounding Evander Kane. Literally the 3 investigations, one that is complete, and 2 more that are still pending. This is a wow situation. I don't know.
Hold on. Let's clarify. Complete is gambling, still under investigation, domestic violence, and fake vaccination card.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to clarify.
The point is, though, is that at this juncture, that is still a wow. I mean, who would have thought that all of this transpires or all of this emerges or that all of this was, at this point, the fact that he's not been with the team for 1 second during training camp, that's a wow situation. So as far as the team is involved, that's a wow point. I would also say to what you're suggesting, let me actually go back to this first. This is such a hard thing to even talk about. I've honestly been
I know, dude.
going through my head about how we will address this properly and appropriately, throughout the course of the season. But I also think what I want for him, what I want for his family, what I want for anybody that is connected by these investigations, I want the best for all of them. And it's it's improper for us to predict how it's going to play out. I hate when I see people on social media, oh, do this, it'll work out. It's like, okay, it's not like that. Yeah. And number 2, as much as we all want resolution, and especially from the team perspective, I also think it's kind of inappropriate to actually rush this, right? To say that you just want to get things settled for the sake of the team and for our hockey, our hockey fandom. That being said, I do recognize the point that you make. What's unfortunate about the Sharks is that they not only don't have their top performing player from last season out there and available, and on paper, despite any internal team issues that may exist, and I think that's been documented enough, on paper, that player should help you out. But the other thing that would greatly help the Sharks is to at least know how is this going to pan out? How is this going to play out? If you're not, let's say he's not on the payroll until they can finish an investigation, or they need to go into this deeper. But then does he pop back on at some point? What is happening here? And to Bob's transparency, like we talked about before, when he says that, I truly believe it. He just has nothing to operate on right now.
I will say, though, here's the thing that in Jerk and I have talked about this before. The thing that kind of spins me for a loop, rightly or wrongly, is all the turmoil surrounding whether he had a fake Vax card or not. I'm just kind of like, how is that not something that you couldn't have determined in the course of an afternoon? Look at the cord.
Oh, you mean confirmed or denied?
Yeah. That's the part that I don't like. It's like I sit here and it's like, well, let's see. I mean, I know Jerk has said this. It's like, there's a vaccination number, like a batch number. Here's my card. And it's like, there's, batch numbers here. And it's like, basically.
Yeah. But I mean, who do you think that, I mean, to your point, I mean, I have my card. I've seen other people's cards. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know. I mean,
but can't you search if there's numbers written on?
I don't know.
It's like
I honestly
Pfizer, this number. Can't they reference
well,
that and then look for his name?
In California, right, to get the digital version of it, I know that you have to kind of fill out. I did it. I forget how I did it.
Oh, the Clear app.
Well, even before that, to the state of California will give you a QR code.
Oh,
right,
yep.
Show on your phone.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is, I don't know where he actually or claims to have gotten this done, but maybe that local government or wherever it was signed from doesn't have the ability to pull it up digitally.
I would like to know that. I would like to know that.
Well, I think you would need the help of local government or some type of governing body to figure this out. What I'm saying is, your question is, can't the Sharks instantly or the league instantly figure this out?
Not instantly, but it just seems like it's. I feel like they've had enough time, and we saw Bill Daly come out today and say, we're expecting some sort of resolution by the end of this week.
But do you also think that he's talking about just the one investigation, or do you think that they're trying to wrap up both of them in the interest of having this bigger picture complete? Right?
Yeah, I
feel like it's just wrap up one and say, well, here's one, but there's still something left.
No, but I feel like if the personal stuff, like personal relationship stuff, I don't know that you cannot be a very nice person and still play hockey, but the Vax card, it's like we've seen people that do fake Vax cards where they're literally serving time and paying fines and losing jobs and all that,
That's, I mean,
so
the real that, and I don't know that everybody is aware the consequences of that. Right? I mean,
exactly.
I'm not sure in Canada and in the States, what, and I think that's, to my point earlier, all of this stuff is so important to. Again, we're rushing this because a hockey season is starting. Seriously, think about that. This is a person's rest of their whatever in jeopardy, and everybody associated with him deserves the opportunity to have the situation play out right. And I don't know how accurate they'll ever get it, but at least to know that this was not glossed over. This was not the league going, "Hey, we finished." It's like, no, did you actually finish though?
Hold on, you want to watch Brodie lose his shit? Hey, Brodie, would you like to talk about a group called the Blue Ribbon Panel?
Oh. What time are we on till tonight? Because you're talking about the A's stadium situation and Bud Selig back in the day. No, like leagues move slowly, but I'm saying in this case, when it's a lot of jeopardy here, right or wrong, right? I mean, I would rather them take their time. Now, I would also rather them say, and the idea is that this will come out soon. I mean, In fact, by the time some people might watch this on a replay, we may have a lot more answers by even opening night. But I'm not going to sit here and be pushy about, well, we got to know, we got that. I don't think that's doing
I'm
justice.
not saying like, oh my God, we got to know.
No, but the team, you're right. The team, let's not also deny that the actual team and his teammates who had nothing to do with the accusations here, they're being affected by it.
Yeah.
But again, life versus sports, and you know what business I work in, but I also am human enough to recognize that life is way more important than sports. So
well, and it's also worth mentioning too that this
was that jerk. Are you still here?
well, I
thought he was sleeping.
I know. You know what? I had to jump in because you took us off topic one too many times.
Well
anyway,
And you know this, man.
This everything that's going on, right? It's a first of its kind. This is the first time that we've ever seen something as specific as allegedly falsifying a vaccine card, but also just so many things happening at once. And to your point, AJ, mentioning, the legal sanctions that come with, doing that. If the NHL is going to set a precedent on this first of its kind situation, they want to make sure they do it right, to Brodie's point. And so I'm fine with, take the whole season. If the whole season is what it takes to get it right, do it.
It just sucks that the Sharks, have to sit there on what, $8.5 million between him and Jones and dead money.
Well, the Jones thing was their own doing. I mean, that's what they wanted to have happen. But you're right. This is an unfortunate predicament.
Yeah.
It really is. Now, and I don't mean to play host here, AJ, but let me spin
whip
it
it
forward.
out. Go ahead.
Let me spin it forward to this.
Wait a minute. Brodie's taking over.
Oh, fuck. That is not good.
Okay, go ahead.
What's that guy's name?
Bob Menery.
Menery. Yeah, I've seen him. He's hilarious. He's who I aspire to be.
Oh, dude, he's great.
So is the analogy right now that Evander's situation is kind of like the train has left the station and he's like running into the Grand Central essentially. And it's not to say that he can't catch up to the train at some point if allowed and if the situation dictates that, he's able to do this. Like how does it go rejoining a team midstream? Now, like they've started. They've pushed their boat off the dock. Like they're ready to go.
He's out there with water wings. Don't forget about me.
Well, no, I'm saying like, and I'm using the analogy of catching up, but really, for the team to kind of welcome that in midstream and, to sort through any residual issues that, that's what training camp was supposed to be for. Right.
Well, and we're talking about a team that, from reports from the end of last season there's a significant amount of people on this team that would be happier if Evander Kane was not on the team.
So, and to that point, and to what I was trying to say is that it's like, how does, and it's not impossible. Let's be realistic. These are professionals. They value each other, obviously as people, but if somebody can play and help your team, everybody bends in the right way to make it happen and make it the most impactful. But again, they are all human, and I don't know. All I'm saying is I would have much rather had that smoothing out process play out in training camp as opposed to game 13 of the season. And I'm just throwing out a number. That could be way off, by the way.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, even let's just say for argument's sake, everything is cleared tomorrow and Kane can rejoin the team. He's 18 days behind everybody.
Yeah, it's still not enough time, to your point. And that's why I'm saying I think the analogy is like the train has kind of left the station. It's not impossible to catch up at the next stop, but he's
behind.
It's abnormal for sure.
And it would be one thing if he's not in drills or anything like that, but like he could go skate. As far as I know, he's not even allowed to step foot in Sharks ice.
Yeah. He isn't.
So
and
we're not saying anything is absolute, but like based on that information, I'm kind of thinking, like, who knows the last time he put on a pair of skates?
Well,
we
based
saw
on his Instagram, it
social
was
media, I was gonna
in
say.
September.
Was not
But
long
even then-
ago.
But even then,
I also-
that's a long time ago if you're a
Yeah.
pro athlete.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I just, I just want to say how terribly unfortunate all this is. When he came to San Jose,
Mm-hmm.
I remember the trade, and didn't Jumbo pick him up at the airport?
Yeah, like at 12:31 in the morning.
Yeah.
San Francisco, not San
and he
Jose,
had-
San Francisco.
And he had that really just impressive stretch after the deadline. I mean, it was like, wow, what a nails move this was to acquire him. And
Do you understand how much Brodie would have been impressed if it had been the Oakland airport? But anyway, go ahead.
no, they have a curfew. You can't land after midnight out there. So no, I mean, I just, all I'm saying is what it's all of it is unfortunate on so many different levels, personally, professionally. You're not going to see me dive into hardly any of the personal stuff.
Yeah, I don't see. That's the whole thing. I don't want to get into
No, I agree.
what's going on with him and his wife. I don't want to get into
Nope.
that. To me, it's, did you gamble on games? No. Okay, then. No evidence of that. Okay, fine. Did you provide a fake vax card? That's what I want to know about. The personal stuff, however horrific that might be, it doesn't really impact the team per se. It's like, that's not
I
an
don't
actionable offense from the NHLPA. You know what I mean?
Well,
I don't agree with.
I don't know where to see. It's not my place to draw lines. I think I know in my mind where they exist, but I don't have the pen. I have this pen
Yeah.
for my tablet, but I don't have the pen to draw the line like the NHL does.
But you know what I'm saying.
They've been often criticized before of not knowing where to draw lines. So I don't want to get too far into that part of it, but
I think we need to move on.
yeah, we do. And it's just it's one of those situations. Like I said, they have to really know what they're doing here. They have to fully understand the situation, and they have to get it right for whatever they decide, right?
Yeah.
And we're all going to be bystanders in this because none of us were there. None of us, truly understand. But you want there to be little doubt about their efforts.
So the questions for me among the forwards: can Eklund last 82? Will Dahlen meet expectations? Will Barabanov maintain what he started with 7 points in 9 games? It's all stuff that's going to remain to be seen. I mean, you're basically talking about 3 rookies. And we've seen, there's some rookies that for some reason, like a Mario Ferraro, they just like, bitch, I got this. What are you talking about? And then there's other guys like a...
Did he say that? Was he quoted as saying that?
I didn't...
Did I miss that?
They said it, I overheard it. Somebody
Joe Thornton
said
told him to say that?
Yeah. But, you're going to have your guys like Ferraro, but then you're going to have your Nikolai Goldobins.
Oh, my goodness.
Your Mirko Muellers. So on the back end, look, we know Knizhov is on the IR. It seems to be a really odd. Can you even call it an injury? Because wasn't it something like dietary at some point?
Apparently didn't pass the physical, right? So,
but it felt like it was dietary.
Yeah, I don't. And I remember, now that you say that, I do remember I heard something this offseason amidst my 120 something baseball games. So I do remember seeing that in passing.
Oh, really?
Right.
Brodie Brazil.
Rest in peace, Dick Callahan, the legend.
I think AJ. What you're thinking of is Brinson Pashnuk.
Oh, you're right.
Found out he had
right.
celiac disease, and I don't want to speculate or anything, but I remember at the end of last season, so that must have been May. I remember Shang. Shout out to Shang. I remember Shang putting out something basically saying like, oh, Knizhov's not sure if he's going to play at the World Championships. He's a bit banged up. Still trying to figure that out. And then from there, I don't think we really heard anything. So it, from the tea leaves that I'm reading, I'm saying, okay, maybe it's a continuation of that. But it is, there just seemed to be a lot of mystery surrounding it. And, obviously we'll respect his privacy, but it's definitely curious.
It's a body injury. That's what the Sharks just revealed. It's a body, not upper or lower. It's just a body injury.
It's somewhere between the hair and the toes, is what we've been able to discern.
No, it's not even an injury. It's just a body.
But we know it's like Ferraro and Burns, that was cemented last year. Carlson and Knyzhov kind of also seemed to be cemented last year. And then, I mean, Šimik had some injury issues. Oh, excuse me. Vlasic.
Now got you, see?
Yeah, right? Middleton coming in. But, boy, if there's a guy who needs to take advantage of a Knyzhov injury, Santeri Hataka.
My guy, Hataka.
Hakuna Hataka.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, and it's
another rookie.
Yeah, yep. another rookie, but it's like
if Knyzhov comes back, can Hataka play Vlasic or Šimik into the 7th spot?
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is everybody the last few years, the narrative has been the defense. Oh, Erik Karlsson, big bucks long term. Brent Burns, big bucks long term. Vlasic, big bucks long term. Right. And that's those are the only names that people list. And now you have Mario Ferraro, has, to your point, AJ, has come in. He's probably the best defenseman on this team.
Next
I would
captain.
Say if you focus on the word. Please don't interrupt my commentary.
You're gonna change this from a 39 to a 38 on the sleeve because of the C. Wow. But go ahead.
If you you have Mario Ferraro who's come in a season. Nikolai Knyzhov's looked really good. Now you've got Hataka who's impressed. Granted, nothing's confirmed, but he's impressed.
Yeah.
Same with Jake Middleton. It's almost becoming a situation where the Sharks' quote-unquote notable defenseman is beyond the big three. And so to your point, AJ, it makes me wonder, like, okay, is all of a sudden Radim Šimik is a guy who's maybe dangled to a playoff team in February or March? Does Marc-Edouard Vlasic find himself on the healthy scratch list if things don't go according to plan? I mean, it's, where before it was like these are the big three and they're ride or die. Now it's like you could see some serious money.
No, I was waiting for you to go like full on. What's his name? Brodie?
Doc Brown.
Doc Brown. You're about to see some serious shit. Like instead of double 88, it's 44. But dude, I'm right there with you. Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on. What? Mario Ferraro fan club?
I'm buying it, guys.
Good for you.
YOLO. How much? Oh, wait a second. This is going to cost me almost $40.
No. Go, dude. Go through Direct Nick 15.
No, but this is usually a lot. 18. Here we go. $18.98. Oh, and I don't need the privacy and protection. I don't care.
Dude, Direct Nick, it's like 15. But okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Remove from card. Yeah, no, I don't. I'm cheap. Oh, there it is. I don't know. I'll scoot it. Can you see $9.99?
There you go. That's what we're looking for.
I'm gonna work on that while you guys.
All right. So,
and I get a custom email. Your name at MarioFerraroFanClub.com.
We do. I think we have a music bed for this, don't we?
Pizza. Isn't that what I used to yell in college?
Man, hell yeah. So on the defensive side, no, I mean, Hataka, dude, like this is your time to shine. Take a spot and make. Now, all that being said, I hope Šimik has an amazing first 30 games to make him, at 2.5, 2.6,
2.25.
2.25. Okay. Make him more expendable, more tradable. Maybe get a few more assets for him. I'm fine with that. But I've said this to Jerk many times, like we're at the point where we know what Burns is. We used to know what Vlasic was. I'm hoping now, because there was a lot of shit talked about Vlasic coming in last season that he came in out of shape. And now granted, Vlasic, you go back and look, it was like he if you don't know, Vlasic is all about the bow wow. He loves his animals. His dogs are the end of the world for him. I have 5 cats. I love these cats, and when one passes away, I'm inconsolable for a little while. And in fact, I lost one a year ago, April, and yeah, you didn't want to talk to me for about a month or so. But it also didn't help that Vlasic, from what I understand, like his Brodie was Mrs. Vlasic, if you will, like in northeastern Canada while he was here.
Last season?
Yeah, during the bubble. That's the way I understood
possibly,
it.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know, but I will say this. I mean, knowing what the entire team went through, and put it this way, if I was a spouse,
it was just one more brick on the fire, man.
I would separate too, just for the health concerns. When last season started, guys, vaccines weren't a thing. At least they weren't to the general public. COVID on January 14th for their first game was raging.
Yeah.
I wore a mask inside a studio sitting 30 feet away from Curtis Brown. Like, I mean, to the point, like,
to be fair, you should have done that probably in 2016, 17.
Oh, he
18.
should have worn the mask. He's the ugly one. He should have worn his beekeeper suit. And not for COVID. None of us should have been doing that for COVID. More so for aesthetics.
Man.
So, no, look, I mean, yeah, it was hard on everybody.
I'm sorry,
for
what?
A lot of different personal. Difficult on people. Sorry. So,
that's going to be the next sound bite. Thank you.
So, I just think we could name every player in the book, and I think there were multiple players who maybe didn't show up in the readiness form. Because honestly, remember too, I think we found out early to mid-December that the season was even happening for sure. December 10th.
Yeah,
Does it rings a bell?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So, and they were playing by January 14th. So again, and once you're behind that curve, I talked to Scott Hannon a lot about that at the beginning of last year. It's like, it is really hard once the wheels get turning on the season. If you weren't in shape, if you weren't ready to go and didn't have, that time, it's impossible to do it in season.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of players, I mean, look how I showed up on opening day.
Oh, we all remember the hair.
Total tool.
We all remember the hair.
So.
But, I mean, it's just the last 3 seasons, Vlasic has been a minus player after going 11 seasons being a plus player. And I know plus minus is not the end-all, be-all of anything, but it is an indicator.
I think how much ice time he was getting, who he was playing with. I mean,
getting less ice time this last.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I was saying is, it was all, you could kind of all see the trend of how things were going. There's no doubt about that.
So I'm interested to see how this progresses, but I've said this with Jerk, Brodie, I'm going to throw this at you. This is going to be Erik Karlsson's 3rd season on his 8-year deal.
Yep.
If Karlsson is not at the least in the Norris conversation at this point, can you call this deal a bust? I mean, and Jerk will be the first to tell you, when you sign the deal, you pay for the deal at the time, like what you expected. And I get that. Yeah. But there's still hindsight. And so far, aside from a couple little spots in a schedule, you can sit there and go, well, he had these great 2 weeks here. He had there was these 2 weeks in December of 2019, and there was this great week and a half of, 2021. That's not what you're paying that's not why you're giving a guy the most money in the NHL as a defenseman.
So here's how I would answer it. Do you have definitive reason to think that he couldn't impress you this year?
Based on 3 years of history with the Sharks, yes.
Okay. I said last year, and I was completely wrong about this. I said that Erik Karlsson could find a way, if healthy, to be a point per game player in the 56 game season. Right?
And last year, if I remember correctly, was, if you extrapolate the numbers, his worst season since his rookie year.
And I don't think he scored even a first point until maybe the 7th or 8th game.
I believe you are
Was
correct.
Was that last year or 2 years ago?
No,
See,
I think it might be both.
Yeah. No, all I'm saying is that I understand.
Fans' frustration.
I get it. Yeah, I get all that. And at some point, if the production is not there, then of course you're critical of it. But I believe with a little bit of normalcy this year, fresh slate, I believe there is the potential for him. And I don't know, you're talking about living up to difficult numbers of the contract, and they are what they are. But I'm just saying, if you're looking for a good team player, a guy who can contribute, can run your power play, can be like, when we see the flashes of him, I'm not saying he has to look like that every shift out there.
As am I. I'm not saying that either.
But like when we know, you feel like you're getting, a good run of him. I think I don't see why he's not capable of that this year. I don't see why.
I'm rooting for it.
And I think that's the thing. But also, I mean, to your point, like if trends continue the way they have, it's a disappointment. There's no two ways about that.
I think it's also worth saying as well that there were a lot of moments last year where Erik Karlsson would, he would either dump the puck in, or he would, try and pass the puck to somebody going through into the offensive zone, doing something to like get the rush going. And there were a lot of times where the forwards in front of him could not catch a pass, or they lost the puck, or something happened. And it's kind of because of that, I guess, error, you could say, that Erik Karlsson had to force himself to turn around and try and get back into position. Now, that's not to say that he is totally guilt-free. There have definitely been some blunders, as have with everybody else.
Well,
but
how about this one? Like Brent Burns, for example, not to shift this entirely, but like Burnsy and Pavelski had something special, whether it was the tips, the redirects, the rebounds that Pavelski was able to get. I mean, on the power play, everything came through the point and then back out, back up to Pavelski up front. To that point, like, look at the team last year. Look at the team the last 2 years that Karlsson's been on and survived through a couple of injuries, this and that. It's hard to, if this were Erik Karlsson on the pick a year, like 14 or 15 Sharks, 13 Sharks. there would be no excuses, right? But or the 2012 Sharks, there'd be no excuses. But I think, based on the overall team situation, and I also, we talked about players maybe being a little bit behind the curve going into last season. I wonder if he was also in that conversation. So
perhaps
we're getting to the point where we're resetting back to normal, and all the variables that we could mention and reference, because there's probably something to them, those aren't necessarily the same anymore.
Well,
so they don't exist anymore.
I don't know. He better impress the hell out of me this season is all I'm saying. I mean, I understand pay for the first four, pray for the last four. Like, I understand it in that regard. But again, you take a look at what Pavelski, when he moved over to Dallas, when he first started off, that first season cut short by COVID, he was dealing with injuries. He didn't play well. Burns didn't play well. A lot of people, myself included, said, well, hey, there was a weird thing that Burns and Pavs had that just worked for the Sharks.
Right.
And then what happened? COVID happened. We were off for a few months. Then the bubble happened. And then I don't know if you were paying attention, but if I remember correctly, I think the Joe Pavelski-led Dallas Stars went to the Stanley Cup final. And I think Joe Pavelski led the team in goals and points and power play points for Dallas.
He was a monster down the stretch.
Yeah, no, for last season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, killed it. And, so when you see something like that happen, and then you see that there are people that are going to sit there and go, well, Pavelski wanted that third year, and that's why the Sharks wouldn't give it to him. Well, so far, those 2 years were pretty good.
Well, let me say this, though, but to your point, for Pavelski to have some off time, right, like where he doesn't look the same, and then return to form and return in dramatic fashion, all I'm saying in that same breath, is there a reason why Karlsson couldn't do the same?
I would love to see that.
And then, you know what? I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm not promising it, but I'm also telling you, I think there's a capability there.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and we'll find out.
Well, and that's the thing I was saying too, is I think
it's the haircut, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, I'm sure.
That's a great haircut, by the way.
It really is.
High and tight, baby. High and tight.
By a haircut. I'm like, whoever cut that guy's hair is a master.
Oh, what? It wasn't your guy?
I don't think so. But I'm gonna go see him on Friday. I'll tell you that. I gotta get tightened up before Saturday.
Oh, in fact, I should put this out there. Unless somebody gave me some misinformation, I do believe one Mr. Brodie Brazil will be out in front of SAP Center on October 16th. Oh shit. Well, we've lost the feed, ladies and gentlemen.
You lost me. You lost me. I don't know what I'm supposed to say or supposed to confirm or deny, but if you heard that, AJ, you heard that.
No, Sharks VP Doug Bentz, who I talked to.
You're quoting him now.
Yeah, no, he said that you were going to be out there as part of the pre. Oh shit! Are we breaking news once again, ladies and gentlemen? I think we are.
What do you have?
So Brodie Brazil is going to be out there with a newly shorn, maybe not shorn so much, but either way, a Curtis Brown and Brodie Brazil will be outside of SAP Center on October 16th. And from what I understand, your location is going to be significantly improved. I'm hearing you're supposed to be at the corner of Barack Obama and Santa Clara.
Actually, to tell you the truth on that stuff, I don't even know the details.
That's what I've been told. Well, no, because they always kind of like put you guys, like towards the back, towards the. Yeah. They always said it. No, from what I understand, you guys are supposed to be like front and center, like the.
You're honestly telling me. You're telling me things that I don't even know. So I can't even,
well,
I just show up and do the show. Where do I stand? Where's the mic?
There you go.
I don't want to get too far into this. You're right on some things. I don't know about some other things.
All right.
And there's some other things you don't know about.
All right. So you are unwilling to confirm or deny. That's fine.
I'm going to confirm some of what you said. I'm going to not know about some of what you said, and I'm also going to tell you that there are other things that are not on your radar at all. Yet.
So what I'm trying to tell you, everybody, is
tune in on Saturday,
October 16th. Expect, if you are going to the game, expect a dual. You've seen the Thornton Burns dual bobblehead. Expect a Brazil Brownie dual bobblehead, is what I'm saying.
Possibly.
Stranger things have happened.
Possibly.
Let's move on from the defense to the goaltending. Now, this, of course, has been quite possibly the biggest talking point over the last few years. Now, the Aiden Hill and James, we're all familiar with James Reimer, what he did in 2016. Came in very serviceable backup, pushed Martin Jones. That I thought he did a great job. Aiden Hill, not the most proven guy, but the funny thing is if I remember correctly, Aiden Hill has what? Like somewhere like 35, 37 NHL games played.
I think 49. He's got 41 starts and 49 games.
Okay,
like
there you go. Okay, so
I'm not. Those are memorized. I haven't pulled up a single stat, by the way.
I think you're right. But when the Sharks went out and got Martin Jones, I think he might have had like 35 or 36.
Yeah.
So it's it's interesting.
And he wasn't a desert dog.
Oh shit! Here we go. Okay, excuse me. Hold on. Thank you.
Oh yeah, cheers to that.
Hey now.
Cheers to you, Hunter.
So
No, I see what you're going at, and I think Reimer is up in the 350s in terms of starts, and basically 10 years in the league. It's a nice combo because you have what you hope is predictability in James Reimer, and that's a good start. Like that's the foundation of the house. But what you're hoping gets built on top of that is Aiden Hill, right? You hope that he can project himself, can catapult himself into being a front runner, into being a clear-cut number one. I mean, I when Dubnyk came in last year, I thought it was like, hey, let's just give Jones some competition, play the hot hand, battle this thing out. I think they would
how'd that
want.
work out?
No, yeah, right. But I think they would want Aiden Hill to be the guy if he plays himself into that.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I'm expecting opening night.
Yep.
But I don't, again, Reimer's no slouch. It's amazing though too. I think he had 8 starts with the Sharks after the deadline in 16. It was some very small sample size.
Yep.
It was his best goals against, I think.
Yeah. 8 starts, 1.62 goals against, 938 save percentage.
You gotta like those numbers.
Well, I mean, that
Small
team
sample
was
size.
freaking rolling anyway, right? So
Right.
Still good numbers.
But no, I remember thinking of him in that the rest of that regular season and in those playoffs, all the way to the Cup final, that he was I always referred to him as like the parachute ripcord.
Mm-hmm.
If stuff went really bad, you'd feel pretty safe about pulling that and knowing that your goaltending was going to be covered and you'd still be competitive. Especially once they got past St. Louis and you knew they were going to be in the Cup final. It's if anything happens to Martin Jones, this is not a situation where, and honestly, the Penguins were kind of like that too with their tandem at the time, right? It wasn't as if one goalie went down, they're toast.
Who was that? Was that Murray and Fleury?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Murray was the guy, right? At the very end, I try to flush all that out of my memory.
Well, I mean, because Reimer and Hill both have 2-year deals, which makes me wonder, kind of okay, so we'll ride Hill for 2 years, see what we have in him, and Reimer is going to be that backup to kind of help push Hill along while we wait and see in what we have in a Melnichuk and a Sawchenko and a Gaudreau. There are some pieces in the pipeline. Now, to be fair, this is not Wayne Strelow's pipeline. This is not the days of Kiprasov and Nabby and Toskala.
You just went really deep right there. That was pretty impressive. So no, but here's how I was thinking about this the other day. Would you rather have, for this tandem? This is why I really like the tandem. Would you rather have?
For everybody listening, he's really impressed because I named shit when he was 9 years old. But go ahead.
It's stuff that Dan Rusanowski talks about all the time. Wayne Strelo. I'm like, what? Rusi, what? Shout out to Rusi, by the way.
I think you were trying to say, "Who?" But anyway,
imitation is the highest form of flattery. That's my Rusiism. Can't wait to see the guy, by the way. Would you rather have a tandem that's 2 Aiden Hill type goalies? Would you rather have the tandem that is 2 James Reimers? You wouldn't.
No.
You'd rather, like I said, you'd rather have the foundation, and you'd rather have the structure you're trying to build on top of it.
No,
it's not a knock against either, but that's kind of, you would think that's how they want this to go.
It feels a little reminiscent, and again, this is going to, I don't know, make Brodie feel like he's back in second grade.
Toskala, Nabby, and Kipper,
no.
Is that what you're...
No. A little bit earlier than that. No, this is very much kind of Steve Shields and Mike Vernon.
Oh my God, that was like the goalie controversy before when they had 3 in the mix, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it was it was Vernon and Shields.
Yeah.
And Shields pushed Vernon, and then Shields got in there, and then Nabby came in, and Nabby took advantage of a Shields injury and just basically took over for a couple years and made Shields expendable, and then you saw Shields and Friesen move to Anaheim for Timo Solani. So that was
here's what you want. You want a solid and healthy goalie competition. You don't want controversy. Conversation is nice. You just want you want one guy to push the other, and quite honestly, you want it to go both ways. But I think if I'm looking at the foundation of this and the structure of this, like, you want Aiden Hill to be the guy.
Exactly.
But you also want to know that you're covered, and you don't have two goalies that have started a total of 100 games combined in their career. You want Reimer to always be there for you. You want him to be that ripcord, and you want Aiden Hill to hopefully, thrust and thrive.
That's what I'm saying. Each is on a 2-year deal. Let's pump the brakes. Hill has 49 games. Jones had 34 when the Sharks got him. So I'm all here. From what I understand, if you listen to whether it's Brett Hedican or Dan Ruzanowski, guys that are at the practices, they're saying, especially Brett Hedican, who was on NHL radio this last week, he talked about Aiden Hill and said that this guy, during practice, he's on fire. Like, it doesn't, like, he wants to win no matter what the situation is, whereas Jones, Hedican did not get that vibe from him. So
Martin Jones was very laid back. He was very chill. He's very West Coast, a West Coast dude. You know, like, literally.
What are you trying to say?
We're all chill here. This is not a Boston. This is not a Boston Bruins conversation. Like, Marchand. I'm gonna also give you my personal scouting report on Aiden Hill.
All right. Oh,
he is the new
were
team
you
leader.
a desert dog?
No, he's the new team leader of, yeah, no, or
oh
yeah. He's got the Patty Marleau school of answering down pat. You know, like, ask me a question.
Brodie, you think Max is having a good sleep right now?
No, yeah. I can see him on the baby monitor actually right there. He's moved a little bit, but yeah, no, he'll wake up. You know.
Do you
yeah,
think?
No.
Do you think?
Oh yeah.
Right now, do you think Melvin would like a treat?
No, yeah, no. I don't even know what I'm saying, but no, yeah, no. That's such a hockey thing. You don't get that in baseball. You don't get that in any other. I don't know why no, yeah goes yeah, no,
or
yeah,
no. No, yeah, no.
I'm always like, wait, what? Wait, what's the answer here? Where are we going with this?
Well, the weird thing is that Vegas, like the bookmakers, they actually have Reimer at 13 wins and Hill at 11 wins, which I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah.
All season long?
Yeah. Reimer now here's the weird thing.
Wait. They think the Sharks are going to get 24 wins total this year?
This is what I'm saying. It was like 24 wins total. I'm like, that's 48 points, and you've got them projected to hit like 83. Where the hell are these other points coming from?
That's bold.
Do they know something we don't?
That's what I'm saying. So I don't get that. So,
who's making these? Who's making this? Jonathan Marchessault or like who's?
Mark Stone? I don't know.
Mark Stone.
I have no idea. But let me ask you this, and this is something that actually Jerk and I were talking about. You have the internet available to you. The last time I checked, Brodie, and there's a website called Cap Friendly. Tell me how the Sharks are going to make Tomas Hertl a lifelong Shark.
Doug Wilson has always found a way to entice players that he wanted. Let me ask you this. Who was the last player the Sharks wanted to keep and they didn't stay?
Joe Thornton.
Pavelski.
Now, wait a second.
Oh, yeah, Pavelski.
No. Wait, the Sharks wanted to, like, they matched everything. They went all the way up the ladder. Like, no, not players that left. Sorry.
What are you talking about?
Not players that you wanted to see stay.
No, Pavelski, if Wilson had come along and said, okay, we'll give you the third year, Pavelski would have stayed, evidently.
They didn't, but I'm just telling you that they didn't. That's as far as they were willing to go.
But don't you think? Hold on, let me ask you this though.
Wanted for the let's go back to Carlson, Kane, keeping Logan around long term. All the names over the years.
But let me ask you this:
Brent Burns, Doug has never really lost a player to free agency that he wasn't going to have to go like 3 times out of his way to satisfy, like to match an offer that somebody else would give a player.
Let me okay, but let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I fucking forgot what I wanted to ask. There was a question that I had.
You know what? I'm glad that happened to you too. Can you imagine if that happened to me on Saturday night? Okay, so in the third period,
you forgot a guy's fucking name, dude.
Scott Gomez. I forgot Scott Gomez's name.
But no,
I was literally introducing him on a Saturday matinee game, and he scored a goal. Or no, maybe he assisted Raffy, right? And I was like,
"Hey, dude,
here was Sharks forward. Hey, so when you guys scored," and then before he responded, he goes, "You forgot my name just now, didn't you?"
How you gonna do that hockey?
Here's the best part of it. That segment was not actually live. You realize I could have stopped down, started from scratch. We would have replayed it. I said, the hell with it. I was already embarrassed. My face was super red. I was like, this gets to live.
Hold on. What was your question?
No. You were the one asking a question that you forgot.
Okay. Okay. Well, then how did you trip me into that question? God damn it. This pisses me off. Because I knew
I was saying,
for a second I had a point.
I was asking about, tell me who the last person that like, Doug was in a
quandary
offer war with, like, when there's multiple bids on the house that you're trying to buy. Tell me the last time he was in one of those situations with a player that he lost out on.
John Tavares.
No, but a player who was already on the team. That is
okay, gotcha.
And to your point, touche. Jerk, you're right. I remember seeing the shot of them at the hotel in LA.
Hi-yo!
Right? They flew down there to see him. Now I'm saying like a player they could not retain, a player that was on the Sharks that could have went somewhere else, and the Sharks were like, we got to keep him. We got to do everything possible to keep him. Not we're going to throw them an offer that we want them to stay for, and that if they walk, that's it.
Man, I'm telling you, there was somebody that popped in my head.
But anyway, let's agree on this. It doesn't happen all the. Okay, I hate to reference this, but like the Oakland A's lose a lot of players that way, right? Like, exactly. You're wearing their jersey. Free agency.
I'm not wearing their jersey, but
free agency is unkind to some of their most talented players because other teams will swoop right in and offer them something that this team can't. Anyway, so to Hurdle, I don't know how it happens, but I think they will be competitive in offering him something. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is the time of year that those things usually get sorted out.
I have 2 names.
And if it goes on months and months, then it's in my mind that Tomas wants to play the market a little bit. He wants to explore this, and that's fine too. Go ahead.
I have 2 names that the Sharks wanted. Ed Belfour.
Yeah.
Brian.
You're saying to keep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ed Belfour, which they had under control at the time. Brian Campbell.
Okay. Doug Wilson, though.
What? No, Brian Campbell. Doug Wilson.
That
was like 06, 07?
6, 7?
I want to say 6 or 7.
2008 was when Brian Campbell left.
All right.
Okay. So,
All right.
So I'll give Brian Campbell. I'll give you that.
All right.
I'm not even going to get into the whole Mark Bell situation.
But the fact that you had to go back 13 years, right? I'm just saying. It doesn't happen often.
It doesn't, but on occasion. But anyway. So
how do they fit him in on Cap Geek? I don't know. Like, honestly, I don't know what deal he's looking for. I don't know what the comps are.
There's a throwback. Cap Geek. I haven't heard that.
Wait, what did I say?
You said Cap Geek, and it's Cap friendly.
Me.
Shout out to Cap Geek.
No, dude,
that's awesome.
that's impressive that you remember that at your young age.
Well, I also call them the California Angels, and
see, right?
Winnipeg is actually still the Atlanta Thrashers, but
give me another one. Give me one more. That's a throwback.
Devil Rays.
The Baltimore Colts.
Oh, like a throwback that I use?
Baltimore Colts.
Dude, I literally said Devil Rays today.
Yeah, that's it. I do that, or Diamondbacks instead of they're called I think officially the D-backs.
That is not official bullshit. Are you serious?
I think so.
Okay, that's lame.
No, or you know what? Here's the real one: is stadiums. I call them the stadium from two names ago.
Oh, dude. Okay, so you're a local guy. Okay, I'm gonna spiral off for about 2 minutes, everybody. No, I'm sorry. Naming rights is the biggest bullshit ever. It just drives me crazy. I grew up, and I don't care what age you are, but the fact that during my lifetime it was called Candlestick, then it was called Monster Park, then it was called 3Com Park, then it was called it was just like, oh my God, nobody is calling it anything but the Stick. Nobody is calling the arena or the tank. Nobody's going to call it Compact Center, HP Pavilion. There's a few people, they say SAP, but everybody that I know, they say, the tank or the arena. That's all they say.
I know two people who call it SAP Center. 3 actually.
Oh, okay. Are they paid to call it that?
Their names are Brazil, Han,
hey!
and Ruzanowski.
That's what I'm saying. Concord Pavilion. I've heard of Concord Pavilion called Sleep Train Pavilion, Chronicle Pavilion, but no, it's where's that band playing? In Concord. Oakland. It's Oracle, Network Associates, all those. It's no, where are they playing? No, they're playing in Oakland.
I'm plenty okay with the venues making money. I just wish that they would stick to, they always sign like a 5-year or a 10-year naming rights deal. Just make sure that it never changes in those 10 years.
Yeah.
Right.
But
because
even that, it's just like,
because like your favorite joint in the world, Oracle Park, has already had.
Pac Bell, SBC.
It's on its 4th name in
21
years. 21 years.
Yeah,
that's once every 5 years. That's too much.
That's so
silly. And SBC lasted like 2 seconds.
Well, you're talking about 4 names in 20 years. Can we talk about SAP? It was a San Jose Arena. Then it was like within like a 7-year period, it went from San Jose Arena to Compact Center to HP Pavilion to SAP. It's just like a stop.
Well, if I recall, it was San Jose Arena for a long time, and then
I think to like 97, 98.
Compact got bought by HP, so there's that.
Well, and just like Pac Bell got bought by AT&T,
right? And SBC.
Yeah. Exactly. No, it's just, again, it's like, I think the naming rights are the silliest thing on the planet. I cannot wait until Levi's, whenever the 49ers venue is the rights are bought by somebody else and it's no longer Levi's and it's,
what if a designer jean company came in and bought the name?
Jordache Arena?
Yeah, Jordache.
Calvin Klein Stadium.
Bugle Boy, the Bugle Boy Center or something.
Lululemon.
Whoa. I'm all about. Hey, that's what this is.
Hey,
I'm all about that. Yeah, the 7 for All Mankind Stadium.
I'm telling you. All right, so we got where the goalies are. I don't know who the hell is making these fucking odds to be a pair with. Reimer 13, Hill 11. I don't understand where the other 48 points come from, but sure.
I think Pete DeBoer came up with those numbers.
You're probably right. So
can we hit the gas and just get right to the meat of this?
Dude,
I'm not saying that
I'm not saying on the accelerator, bro.
I'm not saying I'm going to fall asleep in 15 minutes, but I was also up at 5 this morning, so I actually might. And
hold on. Fuck, are you 5 up more? Why are you up at 5 in the? Oh, okay. I'll give you that.
Last night I was up at
you trade off. You trade off with the wife, and you're like, okay, I got him today. You got him tomorrow.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
There you go.
Last night I was up at 12:30, 1:30, 3:30, and 5.
How?
It was not a good night.
Isn't Max like 4?
Yeah, it was a rough night.
Dear Lord.
It was just a rough night. It was a rough one.
All right, you had a point to make. What was it?
Oh no!
The point was let's get on with it.
No, yeah. No, let's get to some big picture thoughts here.
Okay,
this is a preview.
All right,
we've talked about all the positions.
All right.
Let's put it together.
All right. So, how does this team handle the Kane situation? No Kane out of this entire year? That's
How-
because that's
how-
where I'm
how
at.
How do we even know? And until we get there,
Yeah, we
it's
don't.
impossible. I like I said before, it's nearly impossible, or it's irresponsible to predict, to project
Yep.
timelines, who did what, how the. But I think if you're the team, like, just look at it from their perspective. Either at some point he's with you, or at some point you know that he will not be with you for the entire ride.
All right.
I mean, and that's from the player perspective.
Yeah.
From the team perspective, if opportunities arise where he's not an employee of yours anymore, then you have all of a sudden you've got some flexibility. But again, like, those are obvious things that we're all thinking of in the back of our minds. It's really impossible to arrive at anything at this point. We are literally in no man's land of knowing anything important or relevant. We're all Bob Bugner right now. I have no comment because we don't know anything.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I'm going to play you all, for all of you that are still hanging with us. Love that. Do us a favor. See, I'm gonna play the whole Brodie card here. Watch this.
Subscribe to the channel
So-
and like this video.
No, keep going.
You can follow us on our podcast. It's on Apple, Google, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and is that iHeartRadio? Is that what that is?
Yes.
It's always available at tealtownusa.com. Oh, you know what? I should put on my auto-tune here. I've got auto-tune. Oh, yeah. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm talking about mine, not these guys.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Where's Puck Guy, by the way? He
Who?
was too big time.
I'm sorry. Who? Anyway, so the Sharks stats for the last season. Let's play a little game, Jerk, Brodie. Better or worse? Last year, the Sharks, 25th in the NHL with a 2.61 goals for. Higher or lower this season, Brodie?
It's got to be higher. I think their scoring last year was, wildly inconsistent, but generally a lot lower, and it does not match the capabilities of that roster on paper. That's probably the best way to put it.
Jerkman.
So, yeah, that's what I think.
I think it's going to be better for on the one hand, like, it was not great last year, so I think law of averages says it'll probably go up a little bit, but also at the same time I think the personnel on this team is better, or if at least it's not better, it's different. And I think you're going to see a lot of guys, especially the guys who've been here for the last couple of years, have something to prove in the goal scoring department, specifically Timo Meier, specifically Kevin Labanc. And I just think, like I said, I'm mainly focused on law of averages. Like, law of averages says it's probably going to be better, but I also think you're going to have a lot of guys who have something to prove, and by that logic, I think it'll be better on that case as well.
Plus, how about the power play? Even if the power play is
dude,
like,
we're gonna get to that.
oh, sorry, a couple notches better, like, that is going to push you well past the 206 mark. Sorry,
Right.
my bad.
All right, Puck Guy on the chat. So, over here, buddy. What up, Brodie?
Hey, Puck Guy.
Yeah, we'll just forget that whole like incident that happened like in the last 3 or 4 weeks where like Brodie came out and was like, "Yeah, Puck Guy, I like talking to you more than AJ." But anyway, so goals against 3.5, tied for 29th. The Sharks do better or worse, Brodie?
2 or fewer.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ almighty. 2 or fewer.
And you know this, man.
So let me put it to you like this. You guys know me as I've been heavily controversial in my opinions that the problems with the Sharks going back 3 years ago started with team defense. It snuck into the goalies. Then honestly, last year, I think the goalies were probably the worst part or worse in the issue. But if they keep putting their goalies, Aiden Hill and James Reimer, in odd man rushes, constantly in second and third net front chances, if they keep putting their goalies in those fires, they're going to get burnt too. This is truly the year with a fresh slate. You're going to find out if your team defensively, not just the blue line, if your entire team is better defensively, or if it was a goalie issue and you've improved in that area. So we're going to get that sorted out. But I would have to believe that because of one or the other or both, that it's going to be a significant. I actually think. I mean, we talked about why their goals should be higher this year.
Yeah.
I think their goals against is going to improve actually more than their goals for.
What? How did we lose your camera?
What happened?
I don't know. Like it
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Really?
But for some reason, the camera went away. Like it just has a little Skype logo. That's very weird.
Let me see if I can
Whip it out.
let the jerk jump in. For
Yeah,
a second.
so Jerkman goals against 3.5, tied for 29, and he's back.
Did I really hit Apple Shift K to turn that off? That's not possible. It turned me off.
Oh shit!
Let's take you out to Lake
Look at this,
Tahoe.
yeah. And now we have Lake Tahoe, where if you are
gonna
a
talk about
hockey
the
jerk
outdoor-
fan, he's going to be pissed off telling you about playing hockey on the lake. Anyway, so jerk goals against last season 3.5, tied for 29th. Better or worse?
I think they're going to be better just on the principle that the goaltending is better. If you have a better goalie, a smart person would say that you'll let in less goals.
Smart person.
I know words. I have the best words.
What are you, Curtis Brown over there?
But also, I think, I think so far in the preseason games that have been on TV, we've seen the Sharks make more of an effort to commit to not leaving the goalies hang out to dry, whether it's Hill or whether it is Reimer. And so I think you're getting more of the skaters to buy in to keeping the puck away from the goalie. I think kind of what we talked about earlier with the defensemen, where it's like it's not so much about the big three anymore. You have Ferraro, who's going to play big minutes, Kanizhov, maybe Hataka. These guys are more defensively minded. So by that logic, they're going to, as I said, buy into keeping the puck away from the goalie. And I think it can't be said enough, so I'm going to say it again. But both goalies are better. Like that alone should tell you that not as many goals will be scored.
Dude, both goalies are better. We're talking about Aaron Dell, who couldn't stay with Toronto. Got demoted.
You guys want to know the real shame is that I only came up on Frozen knowledge like last winter.
What the fuck is Frozen?
What?
What the fuck is Frozen? What are you talking about?
The city of Arendelle? You don't know about that? Frozen?
No.
Let it go. Let it go. No?
No.
He's 100 years old. He wouldn't know.
Oh my God, AJ,
Oh,
you don't know
fuck
Frozen?
you, jerk. Fuck you.
You don't know Frozen?
This is some sort of like. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Have you been around a young person? in
Bro,
the
it's a
last 5
Disney
years?
movie.
Okay. Let me tell you
Anna
two
and
things.
Elsa?
Two things.
Olaf?
Two things. First off, I've never been a Disney fan. I am a Warner Brothers guy. You give
don't
me
have to be
Bugs
Disney
Bunny,
fan to
Daffy Duck, Foghorn Leghorn. I'm all about that. Disney, I've always hated Disney. Never gotten it. It doesn't work for me. That being said, I do own stock in Disney, so whatever Brodie's talking about, if it
Like
makes
it?
me money, I'm fine.
I'm gonna just demonetize your video here and play it on the microphone, right? But yeah, jerk, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh,
The
sing
city
the
of
whole
Arendelle.
fucking song, dude.
No.
Get my
It's-
channel totally screwed. Go ahead.
That's the thing. You don't have to be a Disney fan to have
Right.
heard of that movie.
Right.
No, I've heard
Anyway.
I've heard of the movie Frozen, but what the hell was Brodie talking about?
The
Arendelle
city
is-
in Frozen is called Arendelle.
Okay, I've never seen it.
Yep.
You don't have
How
to
the
be
fuck
Spelled
would I
like
know this?
Arendelle.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's move on to the special team, shall we? Okay, power play. Fucking Arendelle. Jesus Christ. Power play. 14% over the course of the 50 some odd games, 29th in the league. Penalty kill, 80%, 14th in the league. Now, Drew Remenda.
Loser.
Yeah. Who? Drew Remenda will tell you that those numbers, the percentage, needs to add up to 100 or better. Last season for the Sharks, it was 94%. For those of you who may be interested, not good. So it looks now, Brodie, I don't know how much attention you've paid to these preseason games. Clearly you're not paying attention to me because you're playing Nintendo, but it's
My bottle. It's my
Four
pack.
topper. Four
And,
topper.
yeah,
Oh,
there
what do
you
you
go,
what do you got going, buddy? I got a little bit of Federation Zero charisma is what I've got
Finished
going
it
right
off.
now.
See, I'm
Hey,
done.
now. All right. But look, the power play, not great last season, but if you looked at what is going on in this preseason, they've definitely changed some stuff up. They've got Eklund sliding down the wall. They've got Couture playing as a bumper. They've switched up the lines on the blue. So,
John McClane.
oh shit, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Is that what he says? No, so I think it's, look, I would even take, as bad as it was statistically last year, I would take it so long as even if they didn't score, they actually gained momentum on the power plays. They, a lot of times last year, way too many times, didn't get a single shot on goal in that power play. How does that happen?
Get me started. How many times did you say that to Curtis? And Curtis was like, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, no, it's gotta improve its impact in the game. And if it does that, the stats are going to come with it. So this is another one where we talk about, how better. Yes, it's got to be significantly better, but at the very least, it has to look better to the eye than it does actually make a difference with the stats. I know that sounds crazy, but I'd rather see it improve to my eyes in the gameplay, in the game flow, than their conversion rate. Although I know this, it's a results-based industry, but I need to see it look better and have a bigger impact in games. And also to know that other teams can't just take advantage of you, trip you, push you, hook you, whatever, and get away with it because they're like, yeah, well, we'll go in the box. You're not doing anything with this. That's more important.
Yeah. And I felt like there was a decent amount of shorties. Or at least shorty chances at the very least. Jerk?
No, I like that you mentioned about having a power play that's intimidating, because I can remember going back to like when Todd McClellan was the coach, like that power play steps on the ice and it's like
we're screwed.
Yeah, it's like
the other team is screwed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh damn, like we got to contend with this power play.
Yep.
So I'll be honest with you, I really thought the power play was going to hover around the same spot, only because John McClane was the assistant coach covering the power play in Arizona the last few years, and Arizona's power play has been atrocious as well. And so I was kind of nervous, like, is this really, what is it? 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. But so far, and like I said, we've, the first game in Vegas that the Sharks played, like I was there, I got to see a power play goal. They have the game against Anaheim, the second game against Vegas, all, on TV. You can watch these things, and the power plays looked good. I think in an ideal scenario, they would have liked their conversion rate to be a bit higher. But to Brodie's point, even if they're not scoring on the power play, they're making things happen where maybe they get a goal when the power play expires. Maybe the crowd is buzzing and that gets them over the hump on the next shift. Even if it's not, say you're 0 for 3 on the power play, but you've scored a goal at the expiration of every power play. Like, you can definitely say the power play contributed to that goal, even though it's not going to show that on the score sheet. And so I think, I've sort of turned the other way, where I think it is going to be better, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you it'll be top 10, but I don't think they're going to be anywhere close to dead last.
Well, I mean, you're obvious things are going to change because you have different personnel.
Sure.
Eklund, Dahlen, Barabanov, whoever. That's obviously going to change things. So, again, I go back to Remenda. What?
Please.
Hold on. Oh, there you go. I go back to Remenda and I said that, hey, those numbers have to equate 100 or more. Let's see if the Sharks are going to be able to do that. Based on what I've seen in the preseason, I think they've definitely been trying to change things up. Like I said, they've got Couture in a bumper position versus being down low. They're trying to put Weatherby with his fat ass right in front of the goalie, which I like that, trying to disrupt it. It seems like for the last few years, power play 1, power play 2, it's kind of like, okay, power play 1 tried to run a play and it didn't work, so we're going to put out power play 2 and watch them run the same play. And it's not going to work. And I feel like that's different this year. It's like power play 1 goes out there, try something that they've been coached in that doesn't work. Okay, fine. Let's put out power play 2 that is going to try to do something totally different. I like that. I like that. I forget what the movie Jerk, you'll know. I like that shit. So anyway, I dig that. The other thing, faceoffs, 48% last season, tied for 24th. All right. Again, that's not good, but that's Hurdle and Couture taking a lot of defensive faceoffs because Gambrell, Donato, Gregor, whoever could not get the shit done. The win percentage when scoring first, the Sharks were 46th percentile. That was 28th. That shit needs to end. And I think, like you were saying, Hill and Reimer are going to fix that. We can all go back to the game against the Washington Capitals. If I remember correctly, the Sharks are now the only NHL team to score an empty net goal and fucking lose.
That did happen.
Yeah. That's not good, my friends. So, for me, there are literally 3 things to pay attention to this season. I'll start with you, Brodie. Rebounding. It's the big 3 on defense. And when I say the big 3, of course, I'm talking about the big money guys, Vlasic, Burns, and Karlsson. It's, do we see a bounce back from Meier? And when I say a bounce back, kind of 2 years. Like, Meier needs to come back. But it's Meier, it's LeBanc. There are some people that will say Couture, but I feel like Couture has dealt with a lot of injuries, so I'm not going to go there. Also because I'm literally wearing a jersey with his name on the back of it, and you have his website. But anyway, but no, it comes back to Karlsson, Burns, and Vlasic. Can those guys bounce back, be the players that we need them to be? Can we see Timo Meier be the guy that we all projected a couple years ago to be a 30-goal scorer? Can LeBanc bounce back and be that guy? Like, you remember when LeBanc and Sorensen both put up 17, and in the offseason, Doug Wilson was like, yeah, these 20-goal scores.
In the Las Vegas comeback, did
Who?
Kevin LeBanc not tally a point in all 4 of those goals?
4? But, hey, every one of us can have one good game.
No, I know.
I mean,
just
look,
saying,
we've
the
all
3 of
seen.
us on this panel have had 0 good NHL games.
Well, no, but my whole thing being is that
I had a good
look,
broadcaster too.
dude.
Yeah,
how many broadcasts have there been? And Curtis Brown had like a good one.
A good game?
No, a good broadcast.
Oh, he doesn't have those. Here, let's ask our friend
I think
Drew
there was
Mendez.
one.
Let's see what Drew would say. Well, you got to be a critical player in a critical game, in a key moment in the hockey game. And I'm going to drink a Pepsi right now. Well, friends. By the way, when you guys talk to him again, you got to, now that the Bond franchise is like over or whatever, what Daniel Craig has done, you got to ask him about his fascination with Daniel Craig. This guy
Well, hold on. Can
loves Daniel Craig. He has loved him for years.
Well, see, I mean, what was it, like 2 years ago, I talked to Drew, and then about 20 minutes in, I surprised him with you.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Maybe I need to talk to you, and 20 minutes in, surprise you with him.
I would just hang up, though. Like, I don't need to. We had, you know what? Last year was great, and we got to hang out and talk to him. I'm like, all right, I remember what this was like. I've had enough. Thank you. Goodbye.
Oh, bullshit. Hey,
Yeah,
you know what? Hold on. Before we get too
There he
deep
is.
into this.
There he
Hold on.
is.
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can talk about this at all. What the fuck is going on with Jerk? I think was it you? Somebody said that whole thing on Awful announcing that like Fanatics is trying to buy up all the fucking Sinclair regional sports networks.
I have no idea.
I saw that. I saw a link to that earlier today.
What
but
the hell is that about?
I have no clue what that's about.
For
I'm
all
drawing the Sharks logo here, by the way. Didn't they just get? Yeah, I mean they just got bought too, right?
Sinclair, didn't they?
Sinclair bought all the
was
Bally's?
that well, no. I thought Sinclair was Bally's.
It is.
Yes, because when Disney bought Fox, they would have been hit with a
Right.
monopoly, so they had to spin off all of the Fox Sports channels.
Right.
Oh,
Right. So that was within the last 2 or so years, and then the name change to Bally's was, that's a naming rights deal, right?
Christ almighty. So
all that
let me ask you this: when you first started with the Sharks, was it Fox Sports Net or was it Comcast?
It was Comcast. It was a year after, I think,
after
they
the
changed
Fox,
the name.
the Fox transition, and then
they
NBC
hired about 150 new production people.
Really?
The year after, yeah, and I was one of them. And I think since that batch of expansion and hiring, I think there may be. For a while, there was less than 10. I think there might be about 5 originals remaining. It's a volatile business, and we are 13 years removed from it too. So, it's not like it was 13 days. It's been a while.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering the whole idea of, with NBCS, the major national quote unquote conglomerate. With them being out of it, I want to know what is happening with the, oh Christ.
I actually don't even know, to be honest with you. Oh, did you not know I was drawing all that the whole time? Drew loves Pepsi.
He does. It's what happens. So with that, I think we can probably wrap up. Brodie and I are going to talk for probably another 20 minutes or so after this, but thank you guys so much for watching. As we always do, in case you missed it, catch Teal Town USA everywhere. If you missed the show, you can always catch it again. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart. Everything is always available at Teal Town USA, so you can find it there. But the big thing, it's always available on our YouTube channel. So go find it there, subscribe there, and we would really appreciate it. So I'm going to do my normal exit cue. So, Brodie, you're going to be back on camera here in about 2 seconds. Final thoughts. Famous last words. If you want to promote your own YouTube channel, absolutely.
Exactly what I was thinking about.
I was going to say, go ahead.
Are you guys at 10,000 yet? Because I'm so desperate for 10K.
Really? Oh my God, we're desperate for
kidding.
2,500.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
no,
right.
we're at 2,400. We would like 2,500. But
hey,
yeah, no. Go ahead.
Quality,
go
not
ahead.
quantity.
Just sit here and swing your big rooster all over the place and be like, yeah, 10,000 bitches.
8 years ago today, that comment, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Not today, yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
No, we put it on our Twitter.
That's my life right there. Day late, dollar short. No, look, love to see everybody for the season. I'm excited about it. I think there are enough interesting things to talk about this year. Like we've got some movement. We've got hopefully the ship turning the direction a little bit. I'm excited about it, and I'm going to do more this year on social media, YouTube. I'm really making a push there. I might quit Twitter at some point. I might, but
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know. It's just
I call bullshit on that.
It's a display of stupidity every day.
It's a display. It's a display of stupidity. I would agree with you, but
and it's not reflective of the real world.
But it's a fantastic promotional tool.
People don't say all that stuff in real life.
No. But that's how you do it. Go full Pavelski. You never read anything. You just post the tweet, and that's it. And you never look at the responses.
I've looked at the responses like 10 times on this live stream.
No, never look at the responses. Well, what did Curtis have to say?
I don't know. Somebody sent me a picture.
There you go.
I don't know. It's not showing up. It could be bad too. So anyway, no, you know where to find me. That's all I got.
Jerkman.
So
hello.
As I usually say, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Sharks will be a playoff team, but I think they could be a playoff team. I think they've made enough improvements. With the forwards they've picked up, obviously, I think the goaltending is better as well. The defense, I'm I'm still a bit wary on, but as I've said, I do like Ferraro, Knyzhov, and Hataka if he can stick around. And
I feel
so
like for you, the defense this year versus last year. Hold on.
Gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I just think all around, I think this team is better than it was last year, and I'm really, as a fan, hoping, but as somebody who can critically analyze this team, I'm thinking that they will take advantage of the Pacific Division not being the strongest division in the NHL right now, and I think, again, I'm not going to say they will make the playoffs, but they definitely could. I don't think this is going to be another last place team. I'll tell you that. And that's really all I have to say. Follow me on Twitter at hockey_jerk if you so desire to do so. If you don't want to, I don't care. It's almost midnight on a weekday.
Hey, now. Well, see, and the other thing is, Twitter has opened up that venue where you can pay for stuff. So look forward to at hockey_jerks/VIP. Look forward to at Brodie NBCSS/VIP because
Wait, what?
Oh, don't you know? Like, Twitter is offering the ability that you can essentially monetize your Twitter channel. So there's like some stuff you can throw out there and be like, yeah, okay, all you guys can see this, but this is my deep thoughts, so you got to pay for this. Oh, it's coming, baby.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever do that. I don't know.
Oh, it's okay. You don't do it? Please
I like
do me a favor.
I like
do me
giving
a favor.
it out for free.
No,
that's
okay,
that's,
you give it out for free. Please.
The network might frown on that. Who knows?
Do me this favor.
Yeah.
I need to pay for Doc Brown 37. I need to pay for
Oh,
that.
we'll definitely. You want the password to the account? I mean, it's on my phone. You want?
That's what I'm looking for, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, how about this? I'll just sell you the account. $5, it's yours. Here's Curtis a couple years ago.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on there. Can you give me like 10,000 followers? He's like, I'll take it over at 10,000. He right now is.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. He talked to.
He's got 3,900.
All right, hold on. How many do you have?
How many followers do I have?
Yeah, if Doc Brown's got 3,900, you have to have like 39,000.
68,700.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. See, there you go. That's all I'm saying. No, here's the really here's the really fucked up thing. Like 3-4 years ago, somewhere in there, Eric, for those of you watching at home, playing at home, Puck Guy 14, Eric was at Sharks Ice in like early September, ran in to Curtis because he was doing something with the junior Sharks. Yeah, and he's like, hey, I have an idea. We could play a really fun joke on either Brodie or Randy. Here's this. And Curtis said, yeah, here's my number. Give me a call. And Eric called him with the idea for the gag, and Curtis never picked up the goddamn phone.
Did he at least did Curtis at least give him the right number, or did he pull that trick?
I have no idea. With Eric, are you still on?
Well, let's just say Curtis's number here on YouTube. His number is 408-624. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know anybody's phone number.
Brazil.
Yeah, we try to lay the audio on top of it so nobody knows. Hold on.
All right, fellas.
When it comes to Curtis Brown, what?
Fuck that guy.
There you go. That's a very Canadian way to say it.
This whole stream just got like really angry.
Oh shit!
At like the hour mark. Man.
My soundboard is a little different from yours. So,
wow.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for checking us out. This was our San Jose Sharks preview. If you ever missed the show, want to catch it again, you can find it on all of your favorite podcast apps, including iTunes Podcast, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, blah, 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 blah. You know how to find a podcast. But you can find everything at tealtownusa.com. Thank you so much to Hockey Jerk at hockey_jerk. Thank you so much to Brodie Brazil at Brodie NBCSS. He's too busy trying to figure out how to take a four top out of a single. That's okay. Go ahead.
Huh?
And with that, we will catch you all. The Pucknologists going to be here. Not on October 17th. Because that's only one game. But the week after. And we might, if you're a hockey jerk, we might have to sit there and go, you know what? There are some players that remind us of Halloween candy. And we're going to talk about that. So, thanks so much for watching. After the San Francisco Giants took a 2-1.
All right. I'm out of here. That's it.
Thank you, guys.